Sorry, that was the dispatcher at the police department at the town that my aunt lives in. She refused to go to the hospital. I think they wanted to take her. That's what she got out of it, because they said cleared with patient refusal. In other words, she refused to go to the hospital and they wanted her to. So, stubborn old woman. Anyway, I love the stubborn old woman, but she is a stubborn old woman. So, anyway, that's my mother's sister. All three of them are pretty darn stubborn. But Auntie Barb's going to call her. I just called Auntie Barb back. Anyway, I was talking about Mom and Dad. Yeah. The one thing Dad was meticulous about was his painting. And like I said, he did it here for Colin. My dad... and Renee has that meticulousness with hers. What else? My dad would tell me stories about climbing up on the steeples. He would travel all over the place to do that. And one time the guy fell and died. That had to be horrendous. As you know, my father grew up here, although he was born in Connecticut. The whole Wilson family's from Connecticut. In fact, I was in Howe's Cavern, and I ran into a guy from the same area of Connecticut. And so when Uncle and Auntie came back up, because I was sitting in the lobby with the guy, because I came up before they did, when they came back up, I immediately introduced him to my uncle. So would you believe he's from the same place your family's from? To meet him in the middle of a cavern in the middle of New York State, you know, that was just weird. So, you know, in a cave system in New York State, of all places. But, although New York, Connecticut, and New Jersey are considered the tri-state, so. I guess there are other areas where they have what they call tri-states, but around here, that's what you think of. So yeah, my parents, they went through a lot, you know, they fought. More when they were younger. When they got older, they matured. They kind of grew up together, even though they were 10 years apart. Anyway, I was telling you that my mother moved in to take care of the house, and she wouldn't eat the food. She ate some bouillon cubes. And I guess my grandmother and my father noticed she wasn't eating. And so they called her into the kitchen, and they said, "What have you been eating?" She started crying. She said, "I stole bouillon cubes from you. I'll pay you for them." And they're like, "Stole? This is your house. Eat the darn food. That's not enough." They were worried about her because she wasn't eating, not because she ate a couple of bouillon cubes, which, yes, she put them in water, but nasty. Salt. And there were times that my parents did very well and times that were tough. And I'm sure everybody can relate to that in terms of, finances. My father got laid off. And things were tough, but I never knew it. There were times when there was almost no groceries in the house. This was pre-me. And one time they had one of those government cans of pork. Actually, pretty good. Kind of salty, but they're pretty good. Well, my mother doesn't like fresh pork. We used to make fresh pork shoulder on the stove, and it does. It stinks. It smells like poo. But it tastes so good. Didn't like fresh pork. Wouldn't eat it because it smelled like poo. And I can't blame her there. But that's all they had. They had that, and I forget what else they had, like some canned potato or something. Not much. They needed to go grocery shopping, but they hadn't been able to. She hadn't been able to get there, and she just needed to make something for him to eat. She didn't eat the meat. She ate whatever else she made, and it wasn't much, but at least they had something to eat. And she learned what they would call peasant food recipes, basic soups. Like hamburger was cheap back then, so you'd make a hamburger soup. You'd make mulligan stew, which is disgusting, just for the record. It's literally elbow macaroni with water, a can of tomato soup, and a can of tomatoes. It's gross. Actually, it's macaroni that you cook, you drain, and you put a can of tomatoes in it. Nasty. Flavorless. But that's mulligan stew. We eat that often. And I hated it. I'm sure every kid has the one thing their mom made, at least once a week that they hated. That was mine. Another thing that she made was cube steak. Cube steak comes out so dry no matter what you do with it. It's dust. It's not meat. It's horrid. But that also was cheap, and we would get my favorite meal day. My mother was a wonderful cook, but my favorite meal day was either Saturday or Sunday. If Dad worked Saturday, it would be Sunday. My dad would take my grandmother's stock pot, put water in it, onions, potatoes, and a pot roast, and cook it for like 4 or 5 hours, low and slow. That was the best. Everybody looked forward to that meal. That was Dad's thing. Another thing that he made was split pea soup. I couldn't get over the green, mushy. It's actually a very good soup, but I couldn't get over what it looked like when I was a kid, so I wouldn't try it. But my mother loved my father's split pea soup, so we would buy, the bag of split peas and soak it overnight and make my mother's split pea soup when we had a ham. Because you take the ham bone and it has little bits of ham on it, and you boil the ham bone, and that ham falls off, so you get that little bit of ham in the soup, and you cook the peas. Now these are dried peas in a bag, in the soup, and then you blend it up. He probably put it in the blender, if I had to guess. Or he may have used a masher, I'm not sure. And it's a green, creamy soup. It's actually a French recipe. French Canadian, although they do use yellow peas. I want to get Bob some Habitant for his birthday. No, for Christmas. That's closer than his birthday. I'm going to get Bob some Habitant. That's the brand name of the yellow pea split pea soup that he likes. And he's been having trouble eating because of his stroke. So I'm going to do that. Because it's something he might be able to eat, you know? So I think I might do it early. I don't think I'll wait because I want him to have it. But my mother, she could bake anything, she could cook anything. I wasn't talking about the mulligan stew and the cube steak, which Dad tried to cook the cube steak too. I wasn't saying my mother wasn't a good cook. My mother was a fabulous cook. Those things I just didn't like. Let's see, what else? My mother and I would come up with crazy recipes that would come out so good. We took macaroni and cheese, peas, and hot dogs, or it would be even better with kielbasa. Mix that together and made a casserole. We made our own tuna noodle casserole. We made, I'm trying to think. We created our own casseroles. We took our base tuna noodle casserole recipe and made a chicken casserole. You could either use leftover rotisserie chicken or, leftover chicken, or you could use, I gotta watch the time, or you could use chicken in a can, drain it, and use that. And we did discover there's one cream soup that is outrageous in a casserole. Cream of onion. It's not easy to find. You don't see it very often. But I like to scoop it up because that is amazing in casseroles. Cream of celery is great. Cream of mushroom, obviously. There's also cream of mushroom and garlic, which is mind-blowing. There's cream of broccoli, which is great. That can go in any casserole. My mother created a casserole out of a can of Dinty Moore and a bag of egg noodles. I mean, her mother used to do it with potatoes. I told you that when I was making her Dinty Moore casserole. Which I should take one of those out for my dinner tomorrow. I have dinner for tonight. My neighbor brought me a huge paper plate of food last night. We're talking a baked potato, a big piece of baked stuffed salmon, vegetables. I'll show you. I'm going to put you here because this is an outrageous amount of food. Plate's all wet. Paper plate. Anyway, I'm going to have to move this to the glass plate. But, oh my god. Summer squash. What did he put on the salmon? He put something on the top of the salmon. Oh my gosh. Green beans, summer squash, lemon for the salmon, and a cut on the top, which I don't do. But I'm going to put the lemon to the side. Actually, I might leave it on the plate. Giant baked potato. I'm talking to you about it, but I'm not showing it to you. There it is. That's huge. And that, besides. I'm not a guy. I cannot eat that much. But I'm going to eat what I can. So I'm going to put that on a glass plate to heat it up. Oh! Oops. I'm going to put that on a glass plate to heat it up. We're going to eat now, so that I'll be all set to go to the food pantry. So what I'm going to do is, this video is a tribute to Mom and Dad. Happy 50th birthday in heaven. I miss you so much. I want to pull this up all the way because I want to end and say my ending, showing you that. Hope you can see it. That's my mom and dad. Guys, please subscribe if you are new, or if you have been watching for a while. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I love you, Mom and Dad. In memory, Robert and Ella Wilson. Willie and Ella Wilson, I should say. In most loving memory. I love you guys. Bye-bye. Bye, guys.